tobacco use. See, the current thing with vaping is people think that, oh, just regular cigarettes are bad. No, vaping too is also bad too, if not even worse. And vaping has taken a toll in today's world with the youth, and the youth think it's really cool to vape because of all the different flavors in it. Hello, my name is Judd Diaz, and I'll be talking about why vaping is terrible in this world today. Let's begin. Have you ever thought about a policy where it's trying to fix how to stop vaping? I will divide each topic into three parts. First, I will talk about the policy regarding vaping. Second, I will talk about how to reform the policy of vaping. And finally, I will defend the policy of reforming regarding to vape. So, now that I said my introduction, let's first transition over to the current policy of vaping. According to an article in 2006, there was some studies where in Facebook, especially Facebook ads, were targeted to the youth and some adults too regarding vape. This is a tactic by them to control them to buy the vape, wiring their minds, thinking that vaping is cool, posting like 30-second ads in their phone. See, this is not cool. This is hurting the minds of the youth and adults. Not only it's targeting the youths and adults and it's wiring their mind, it's also going to be targeting other platforms too, like Instagram, maybe Snapchat, and maybe Twitter. Now this is where I would transition over to the other social media platform, which is Twitter. See, when it comes to vaping, what I like about this is Twitter. Did you know in Twitter in the early 2000s, they conducted a plan to help lower the rate of vaping. See, according to the FDA, they would put it all into 3 steps on how to reduce vaping. The first step would be, what the Twitter would do is they would locate their profiles of everyone in the world and scan them to see if there's any like history behind drugs or tobacco. The second thing they would do is if they didn't have a profile, they could also locate like any relatives that are like close to them, so that would help them get more information about the youth or adult about vaping. And finally, what the FDA does is they want to slow it down. And what I mean by slow it down, lowering the age requirements of tobacco and vaping use. Now that I talked about my first thing about the policy, I will then transition over to reforming the vaping policy. Now with the vaping policy, according to researches back in 2020, there was a little conflictation regarding vaping and how high to raise the legal age of vaping and tobacco and whatnot. It's pretty simple during that time. If you're under 18, you can't, and you're still a teenager in high school, you cannot buy vape at all. If you're above 21 years old, or if you're 21 or 21, or 21 and above, then you can buy vape. Now, there's a lot of things taking advantage with this, obviously. And it's not a good thing. See, kids sneaking into schools with vape pens in their pocket, it's not a good thing. And it just makes us look bad in America. Not even America, just around the world in general. See, not only that, we have to tell these youths that these vape chemicals are harming our body. It's harming us, it's harming the environment, and it's harming for the future generations as well. So, I beg you guys, please, if you know a loved one or relative that is vaping right now, please tell them to stop vaping. I know it's easier said than done, but I would encourage you to do so. Please. Also, I want to talk about something else too regarding reform policy as well, is the cannabis. See, according to the FDA, the cannabis policy is basically a policy where no matter what age, they just want to completely ban the vape policy. Now, I'm not saying completely entirely, but restrict and limit the the supply and demand of vapes. See, with these vape pens, they contain toxic chemicals that we don't even know what they even mean. See, even they're like long words, longer than the nutrition labels, and that's bad. This is a problem too. If one thing I will say, if you don't know what it means, then you probably should not buy it at the end of the day. Now that I talked about my second point, which is reforming the policy of vaping, I will then transition over to my final point, which is defending the reforming policy. Now that we talked about the age limit, we talked about the social media side of things, how do we defend it? Well, we defend it by standing up and uniting within the community or wherever you are. See, according to an article, did you know at least 46,000 plus people just died from vaping? That's a lot. That's a lot of number. We could have saved those 46,000 people if we had our voice earlier. Okay. I encourage everyone to please go to your local grocery store or local sidewalk or local park and protest just to put an end to vape. Okay. Make your voices heard. Because I know a lot of people in this world are lost and they need you at the end of the day. Now that I talked about my first main point of view, which is the current policy, the second main point of view, which is reform the policy, and my final point of view, which is defending the reform policy. It's time to do your part now. We live in a society where we are afraid to speak up to vape, to stand up to vape. And I'm encouraging you and to the audience to have a word regarding to vape. Not only you're killing others, not only you're killing yourself, but you're going to also kill the future generation if you expose these kind of chemicals to the youth in the future.